Jen here with Laughing Lotus Wellness. Welcome in. I just wanted to talk about sowing seeds for renewal. The meditation I did this week was on sowing the seeds and cultivating our renewal in an area that felt like personal agreement based for each of us. And I want to read, this is a book called All Along You Were Blooming by Morgan Harper Nichols. All along you were, can you tell? Like, I'm such a nerd, right? Me and 3M stickies. So again, Morgan Harper Nichols, All Along You Were Blooming, Thoughts for Boundless Living. So it's a really beautiful poetry book. But I'm going to share just one little nugget that fits for our week here. And it says, the thing about sowing seeds and waiting for them to spring into their bloom is that before any of that begins, the soul must be prepared. The ground must be broken before anything can grow. And I love this idea that in our challenges, and that's totally what I believe, but in our challenges, that's really where the most incredible growth is happening, right? And so we don't want to look at it as this like bad or negative thing. Rather, it's like, this is the stuff that's going to help me grow. And I know there's a famous quote that I'm going to totally botch here when I say it, but I know there's something about, it might be Rumi that said something about the broken parts of a vase, right? And I think it's in China, but there's this really beautiful notion that the broken pieces, when we can put something back together again, is where the light shines in. And that's totally true, right? So for renewal, when I think about like, how is the light shining in for us, even amongst the things that maybe we have grown that haven't been so great for us, right? But sowing the seeds of this is a whole portion of renewing ourselves. And so I wanted to put that out there because I thought that was such a beautiful and sweet reading. And then this is from Find Your Glow, Feed Your Soul. And this is by Emily Silva. We are our thoughts. Ooh-zooey. We are our thoughts. And she said, and I love this, if you want to change your thoughts and raise your vibration, examine your thoughts and reframe the negative thought patterns. This is what we're getting at. This is renewing, right? This is renewing those things that don't really serve us, okay? And so what I wanted to share was just a couple of the definitions. And I always get really, like, I love definitions. It's so nerdy and I'm such a language weirdo. But I really love this. So it says in order to like define renew, which I, like I said, just like to do because it kind of will spark some work for me sometimes. So here's the ones that came up and they are so perfect for our month-long journey in this. It says reestablish a relationship. You can reestablish a relationship with you or someone else. I've spoken about leadership and lollipop leadership, and what that means is I can reestablish gratitude in relationship and tell somebody how they've changed my life. That's a huge deal. We always want to step into that. I think that's such a beautiful agreement to have for ourselves. But you can reestablish a relationship with you, right? That's what creating your new personal agreements is about. It's a relationship with you. You have relationships with everything, which is a whole other conversation. But I would love to invite you to reestablish a relationship with yourself first, because everything great follows after that. This one says, give fresh life or strength to and revive. And I'm like, oh, it's like breathing a breath of fresh air into our month, into our journey, into our personal agreements, but into our lives. Honestly, it's so much bigger than that. So how cool is that we can revive that? We can like bring it back. We can refresh it. We can renew it. We can rejuvenate it. In the midst of a huge pandemic we've all been going through, who couldn't use a little bit of renewal this way? I just think that we all could. And then it says replace something that is broken or worn out. So if you have broken or worn out agreements with yourself, this is the time to renew them. And this is the invitation that you needed. And so like I said, invite you, like take a moment, step into those thoughts and figure out what areas you could really spend some energy in, and then take loving care of yourself and nurture those seeds and those sparks and get them right in here and do some soul healing, because you will not be sorry. So ditch the stuff that doesn't work, leave the rest, whatever's good, keep it there, right? It's this like, we're just renewing, we're looking at all the things out on the table for ourselves and trying to figure out what we need for our journey to be the very best. And so I want to talk about some tools that I think are really cool for renewal. I just do. One, to renew ourselves is personal growth. So this would be engaging in if you're listening to me, this is personal growth. So you're already doing it. So it's listening to books, podcasts, teachers, coaches, engaging in really like deep work for yourself. Okay. So deep insight work. That's one. Two is do new things. Novelty actually creates really incredible energy. So what we want to do is we want to get out there and we want to engage in things that are new to us, because we will naturally feel super renewed and inspired by doing something new and interesting. And so it just brings us alive. So I did something not super new yesterday, but I did do something really silly. I was with my daughter and her boyfriend, and we just don't really get out to do a lot, the three of us. It's kind of an abnormal situation. It was Easter, blah, blah, blah. So we're out. And we were doing Pokemon Go. I've never done it in my life. So the boyfriend's teaching me, and we're just driving around. We're going to go get Starbucks in a minute. We stop off at this park to do this Pokemon thing. And there's like this contraption, I'm like, what is that thing? So here we are out of the car, out of this contraption, hanging on. It's like a tilt-a-whirl thing. I've never seen it in my life. You hang on and it's at an angle so that as you get the energy going, you kind of go on your own. It's so hard to hang out. We were like laughing. I'm like, oh my God, my hands were like all chewed up when we're done. And we go down the slide. We're doing flips on the bars. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I had to get a hoist up because the bar was just tall enough. I couldn't get up there. So her sweet boyfriend is helping me, giving me this boost, and we're laughing, right? We're like hysterical. Like, if anybody's watching, it's like, what are these people doing? It didn't even care. It was so much fun. And so there was something about the novelty of that moment that I'll never forget. The three of us, the weird series of things that kind of got us to be in this park, the laughter. Her boyfriend was literally convinced he could not do a flip on the bars. So we were like encouraging it. We were laughing so hard. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And it was this wonderful sense of renewal of my childlike soul. Like, when's the last time you got on a swing? We swang. We're swinging. Anyway, so, and then apparently there's a thing he used to do with his buddies where it was like, see how far you could kick your shoe off while you're swinging. So here we're swinging, he and I. And I fling my flip-flop, not a lot of weight to it. I'm going to say I did not get a lot of trajectory. He flings his tennis shoe, which goes like 3 times the length of my sad flip-flop. And we're laughing. I'm like, this is so awesome. And so it was just a beautiful moment. It's just a beautiful moment. And those moments renew me. I was so present. I was so with the kids. It was such a unique, fun thing that I got to be with them by myself. This just really abnormal, strange thing that kind of came together. And it was so awesome. And just having conversation and getting the two of them alone. And we were in his new car. Her boyfriend has this beautiful new car. And so we were checking it out. It was like super fun. We went to Starbucks and got drinks and just had laughs and conversation. And it was so beautiful. It was a weird Sunday night. It was not the norm. It was just so many neat things came into alignment to have this really novel experience. And it sounds goofy to your ears, but that's so renewing. It reminds me to stay childlike. And those moments, seeing their silliness and like pulling my daughter in, she's very serious. Like, she has a great sense of humor, but she's very like responsible. And so I think sometimes, I have to remind her to be kid-like. And so just even watching her get a case of the giggles or getting on the bars and like just playing, it was like, this is so important for your entire life, right? And so I invite you to think about novelty, right? So we want to do personal growth. We want to have novelty. I would definitely encourage you to use nature. So, right, nature is so important to our well-being in general that we can go out anytime and get a breath of fresh air that's so renewing, even if it's chilly outside. It's just, right now my frogs are going like crazy in the spring. They're so loud outside in my pond. They're so beautiful. And like, I love that sound. I find it so soothing. So my windows are open. Like, they're open. We might be freezing to death, but my windows are open and I'm absorbing this beauty. Right? And so that's really where I invite you in, is like, you get to decide what you need for your journey towards renewal. But I want to invite that personal growth. I want to invite that doing something novel. I want to invite you to be in nature. I think those are 3 really kind of doable tasks, right? That can kind of help speed up and help facilitate your journey into renewing yourself. And so those are just 3. We're going to keep it simple. Those are 3 little tips and tricks. And this is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness. I invite you to follow me on my webpage to follow along for getting emails and events and things like that. I send out a monthly update that has got some information in it for you that's kind of freebies, or you get the heads up on events and things like that before they're launched to all, so that you get first dibs. And that's just Jennifer. It's laughinglotuswellness.com, laughinglotuswellness.com. Go over there, hit subscribe to my email, get in the emails with me, join my community. and be filled with it's beautiful people, so you'll be so glad that you did. But I just wanted to invite you into this as we talked through 3 kind of tips and tricks for renewal, and sharing some of these thoughts on this journey as we've done this week, with things that we can use as we're doing this process of renegotiating our own personal agreements. And I hope that I gave you some ideas, right, about good ones to keep and some not so good ones that might not be serving you, and how we can kind of engage in those by using these 3 tips and tricks that I've offered today. And also that little meditation, that we did about going through the layers of ourselves to kind of get at that sweetness, to allow that to permeate all the layers, that renewal. And so anyway, so I hope you'll stay with me. I'm so grateful for you being here with me, and hope you're enjoying these videos. If you've got thoughts and feedback, as always, please feel free to post below. It's my favorite when people ask questions or leave comments, anything. I would love to hear from you. So again, this is Jen, Laughing Lotus Wellness, signing off for this time. On our subject of renewal and revising our own personal agreements. So I hope to see you around, you guys. Have an awesome week.